ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ॐ Namaste, all of you. Welcome back to our continuing study of Shrimad Bhagawad Geetha from the pages of Poojya Swamiji's, Poojya Swami Dayananda Saraswati's Gita home study course. The Bhagavad Gita, this exalted Prasthanatraya work, features in the Mahabharata, as we all know. We know that the Mahabharata and therefore Shrimad Bhagavad Gita has been authored by the great Vyasacharya. We also know, we should know that Shri Mahaganapati Ganesha was the divine scribe of the Mahabharata and therefore the Bhagavad Gita too. So straight away we have Guru Kripa and Ishvara Kripa in place. And it was taught by none other than Bhagavan, Lord Krishna himself. Who is Ishvara himself. Again, Ishvara Kripa compounded. So we have the Shastra in the form of Shrimad Bhagavad Gita, whereby we have the Shastra Kripa, we have Guru Kripa in the form of Vyasacharya's work. Then we have Ishvara Kripa in place in the form of Mahaganapati being the scribe and Lord Krishna being the teacher. The only other Kripa that needs to be put in place is Atma Kripa, our compassion. The word Kripa means compassion. You have Ishvara's compassion at work. You have Guru's compassion at work. You have the Shastra's compassion at work. The only thing that is required is Atma Kripa. Having compassion for one's own self. To apply oneself to the study and derive the greatest benefit that will accrue to a sincere aspirant. And that great benefit is to discover one's own freedom, intrinsic freedom. that we have unfortunately and successfully ignored in several millions of janmas, especially human janmas, manushya sharira. Here is a great opportunity of studying the Moksha Shastra that Shrimad Bhagawad Geetha is, authored by a Grihastha Guru, Sri Vyasacharya, scribed by and taught by Grihastha Ishwaraha, Sri Mahaganapati and Sri Partha Sarathi, who are Grihasthas in themselves and taught to a Grihastha in Arjuna and through Arjuna to humanity. The essence of the Mahavakyam, Tat Tvam Asi, is brought out very succinctly in Shrimad Bhagawad Geetha. As we have seen in our earlier capsules, the roga or the disease at hand that needs to be cured is the disease of samsara, for which the only medicine is jnanam, atma jnanam. Sri Adi Shankaracharya, in his famous Adhyasa Bhashyam, contends and establishes that samsara is caused due to adhyasa, meaning mixing up the atma and anatma. And this is due to the ignorance of both what anatma is and what atma is. As a result of this mix up of atma and anatma due to ignorance, there is a mix up of their mutual attributes also. The limitations of the anatma that we in our waking hours are constantly interacting with, the limitations of our minds, the limitations of our bodies, of our sense organs, etc., etc., the limitations of this world that is perceived are all superimposed on the immaculate Atma, that is one form of superimposition. The other form of superimposition is taking the attributes of the Atma, that is existence, consciousness, and Ananda, and wrongly placing them on the anatma. This mutual mix up, that is adhyasa, superimposition, mutual superimposition, is caused by ignorance of both Atma and Anatma, and therefore is the cause for our so called suffering and a life of transmigration or becoming. So, the Bhagavad Gita helps us to sort this out, to sort out the Atma and Anatma and understand each in its own respect, to have a very clear perspective of what the Atma is and what the Anatma is, and what to expect from each. Our expectation from life, whoever we are, in whichever religion we practice, whichever culture we belong to, whoever we are, or even other living beings like animals and plants, especially human beings, we are all searching for permanent PSH. And what is PSH? Permanent peace, security, and happiness. Unfortunately, due to our orientation, we seek permanent peace, security, and happiness from anatma. We think that anatma is the source of permanent peace, security, and happiness, and get thoroughly disappointed. We do not know, or we have ignored successfully the very source of permanent PSH, that is our own intrinsic nature, which is Satyam, Jnanam, and Anantam, Anandam, Atma, Brahmatma. So if Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Anandam is my real nature, then what should be the nature of Anatma? There are only two entities. One is the Atma, whose attributes we know, whose nature we know, at least we hear from the scriptures. Satyam, Jnanam, and Anantam, Anandam. Anantam, therefore Anandam. Therefore, what should be the logical conclusion about the nature of Anatma? Very simple. You simply add the opposite attribute. For Satyam, you add Asatyam. Which is Mithya. Jnanam is the attribute of Atma. Therefore, what should be the logical attribute of Anatma? Ajnanam. Ajnanam is the nature of Anatma. Nothing can be done about it. And what is the third nature of Atma? We said Anantam and Anandam. Most important. And therefore, what should be the nature of Anatma? A Anantatvam. Meaning, not Anantatvam, which is limited. And what would be the opposite of Anandam? Anandam or Dukkham. Dukkham or Shoka in the words of Shrimad Bhagawad Geetha. Shoka, sorrow, is the nature of Anatma. Anatma can only give sorrow. So, unfortunately, not knowing the natures of Atma and Anatma, there is a mutual mix up, and this results in wrong expectations. We expect Ananda from a source which is incapable of giving us Ananda. We have lost sight of the source that is the source of permanent peace, security, and happiness. We will pick up the thread in the following capsule and take our study forward. Hari Om.